There are hundreds of neighborhoods throughout the Temecula Valley. Trying to compare all of them, it's almost impossible. So if I were moving here today, I wouldn't even try. In fact, I wouldn't start by looking at homes at all. I'd follow a completely different process. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what I'd do. Welcome back to Love to Live in the Temecula Valley. I'm Catherine Materiali. I've been helping families relocate to the Temecula Valley since 2009, and after helping so many people make this move, I've noticed something. The families who end up the happiest aren't the ones who find the perfect house first. They're the ones who figure out what kind of life they want to build first. So if I were relocating here today, here's exactly what I'd do. First, I wouldn't start looking at homes. I know that probably sounds backwards because when you're excited about moving somewhere new, the first thing most people do is open Zillow and start scrolling. I get it, it's fun. But I actually think that's one of the biggest mistakes people make. Because if you fall in love with a house before you've figured out where you actually want to live, you're making one of the biggest decisions based on a kitchen, a backyard, or a floor plan instead of how your life is going to feel every day. So before I ever look at a single listing, I'd start somewhere completely different. I'd picture my everyday life. If you and I were sitting down over coffee, this is the very first question I'd ask you. Tell me about your Tuesdays, not your vacations, not the occasional date night. Tell me about an average Tuesday. What time do you leave for work? Do you work from home? Are you taking kids to school? Do you want to be able to run errands without getting on the freeway? Would you rather have quiet evenings or be close to shopping and restaurants? Those answers tell me far more about where you should live than almost anything else. Because when you're choosing a place to live, you're not choosing where you're going to spend your vacation. You're choosing where you'll live your everyday life. I'd figure out my non-negotiables. The next thing I do is get really honest about what's actually important. Not everything on your wish list can be a must-have. Maybe schools are your top priority. Maybe it's staying under a certain tax rate. Maybe you need a single-story home. Maybe you want newer construction, or maybe your commute matters more than anything else. Whatever it is, I'd separate my true non-negotiables from the things that it would be nice to have. That alone eliminates a lot of possibilities. The next thing I'd figure out is where I see people make one of the biggest mistakes. I'd choose my commute before my neighborhood. Your commute impacts your life almost every single day. If you're driving towards San Diego, that immediately changes the areas I'd recommend. If you're commuting toward Orange County, that's another conversation. And if you're working remotely, your options open up considerably. One thing I always remind people is this. You can renovate a kitchen. You can update flooring. You can paint walls, but you can't move an entire city closer to your job. That's why I decide what I'm comfortable driving before I narrow down the neighborhoods. If you're finding this video helpful, make sure you are subscribed because every week I share honest advice about moving to the Temecula Valley so you can make confident decisions before you buy. And if you'd like even more local tips, neighborhood insights, and community updates, be sure to sign up for my free newsletter. I'll leave a link in the description below. Then I'd narrow down the cities. Only after I've answered those questions would I start looking at the different cities because each one has its own personality. South Temecula is a great option if being closer to San Diego is important to you. It also offers beautiful hills and views, access to wine country and Old Town, and many neighborhoods within the Great Oaks High School boundaries. Central Temecula has a wonderful community feel with parks, shopping, amenities, and neighborhoods that are close to much of what people love about living here. North Temecula is the most convenient. You're close to the mall, grocery stores, restaurants, and freeway access. It tends to feel busier, but many people love that convenience. West Murrieta has a quieter feel with beautiful rolling hills, established neighborhoods, and is a favorite my own too, from many families looking for a neighborhood feel. East Murrieta offers many newer communities with a variety of amenities and home styles. Then there are great opportunities in Menifee, Winchester, Wildomar, and Lake Elsinore that may allow you to stretch your budget while still keeping you close to everything in the Temecula Valley that it has to offer. None of these things are better than the others. They're simply different. The best one depends entirely on what matters most to you. Before I show you what I do next, there's one thing I think almost every relocation buyer underestimates. I wouldn't chase the perfect house. It's easy to become focused on finding the perfect kitchen, or the perfect backyard, or the perfect floor plan. But if the location doesn't fit your life, eventually those things lose their shine. I truly believe the right house isn't always the newest house. It's the one that supports the life you're trying to build. Sometimes that's a shorter commute. Sometimes it's being closer to family. Sometimes it's a walking distance to a neighborhood park. The house matters, but the lifestyle matters even more. Only then would I start touring homes. At this point, I've probably narrowed my search down to just a handful of neighborhoods. Now I can actually start looking at homes. Yay! And instead of trying to see everything, I'd focus on touring with intentionality. Drive through the neighborhoods, visit the grocery stores, check out the parks, drive the commute even, get coffee nearby, experience what everyday life actually feels like, because that's something no listing online can ever show you. And this final piece is what I think gives people the confidence that they have found the right place. Give yourself permission to slow down. One thing I see people do all the time is feel like they have to figure everything out immediately. You don't. Buying a home is a big decision. Take the time to narrow your search, ask questions, explore different areas. The goal isn't to find the first house you love. The goal is to find the place where you will love living. So if I were moving to the Temecula Valley today, I wouldn't start with Zillow. I'd start by figuring out what kind of life I wanted to build. Because once you know that, choosing the right city, neighborhood, and eventually the right home becomes so much easier. If you're thinking about making a move to the Temecula Valley and you'd like help narrowing down the right city, neighborhood, or home for your lifestyle, I would love to help. You can reach out using the information in the description below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe, because every week we're sharing honest advice and local insights to help you make confident decisions about moving to the Temecula Valley. I would love to be your guide for all things Temecula Valley. We'll see you on the next video.